بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. نصلي ونسلم على النبي الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصل عليه. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the jewel and crown of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the reviver of our hearts, the inspirer to our minds, the most honored one, the most praised one, the most revered one, the most generous one, the most kind one, undoubtedly the most beautiful one. None other than Sayyiduna wa Nabiyyuna Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barak wa sallam. First of all, Jazakumullah khairan, ahsan al-jaza to the Intizamiya, the young Bazm Sultania committee, for inviting me to come and speak just before the blessed month of Ramadan begins. Alhamdulillah, I've been to this masjid many times before. It's always a pleasure to come and speak before yourselves. I've actually semi-retired from public speaking. I'm on a sabbatical, so I don't really do much talks anymore. Because my elder brother Imam Adil requested me to come and speak before yourselves, I duly accepted. So you can thank him for sending me here today. Otherwise, I had no intentions of coming to Briarfield, and if I did, it was certainly not to speak before he mentioned going to speak on this given day. Anyhow, the subject for today's event is preparing for the month of Ramadan. We have to first understand what Ramadan is for us to truly appreciate and accept that we need to prepare for it. Like when you make intentions to travel to the Holy Lands, like Haramain Sharifain, Makkah Mukarramah, Medina Munawwara for Umrah or Hajj, or you travel to Masjid al-Aqsa in Baytul Muqaddas, we traveling to these lands make ample amount of preparation. We start praying before we set out. We start to become more practicing before we get to the Holy Lands, so that we can take maximum benefit from those holy places. Likewise, along with that, we, in order to appreciate and understand, enroll onto courses, learning how to perform Umrah and Hajj, so that we can maximize our experience and get maximum benefit and get maximum sawab and ajr from the Umrah and Hajj that we're going to perform. So, likewise, the same applies to the month of Ramadan. Because we understand that Makkah Mukarramah and Medina Munawwara are so blessed, the preparation for this month also has to be blessed. The preparation has to be on point. The month of Ramadan, it's a gift from Allah. It's a gift from Allah to the Ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This month comes with many benefits. It comes with many deals and offers. It comes with potential and a lot of potential for you to draw closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in order for you to get maximum benefit from this month, you have to prepare for this month as well. We can't just on the 11th hour say, Ramadan's here now and let's do it. You won't get maximum benefit preparing from the 11th hour. We still have time to prepare now even. What's the best way to prepare for Ramadan? Start fasting in the month of Sha'ban. Especially Muslims living here in the West and in the United Kingdom, where our fasts are 16, 17, 18 hours long. Physically, our bodies need to get used to fasting. Therefore, fasting in Sha'ban is one of the best ways to physically prepare for the fasts in the month of Ramadan. We start reading the Quran regularly in Ramadan. Start reading the Quran 3 months before. Start with a page, start with half a page. And eventually over the 3 months in preparation for Ramadan, increase your recitation. So that when Ramadan comes, you are comfortable. The awliyaullah, they would always instruct their murideen, their disciples. The mashayikh always instructed their disciples that if you want to become practicing on your prayers, then you should pray for 40 days. After 40 days, it will be a habit of yours. So many a time we would read inside the books of our mashayikh that when the murideen would come, the disciples would come and they would instruct them, they would always give them 40 days. Likewise, 40 days before Ramadan, just towards the end of Rajab, if we was to begin praying 5 times a day, if we was to pray, or if we was to begin reciting the Quran regularly, for 40 days leading up to Ramadan, when Ramadan comes, it will become second nature to us as well. It will become second nature to us as well. We would begin to start maximizing benefit from the month of Ramadan. So the mashayikh always give 40 days. There's a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever performs Fajr for 40 days in congregation, or kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam, then hypocrisy will leave his heart. He will not be counted amongst the hypocrites. 40 days they gave. 40 as a number is very significant in Islam. Sayyidina Umar was the 40th Muslim to accept Islam. Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam did i'lan al-nabuwah at the age of 40. 40 is a very significant number. Mashayikh always give their murideen, their disciples, instructions that for 40 days do this. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam spoke to Allah for 40 days and 40 nights on Kohetur, Mount Sinai. So we have to understand this. Now, understanding this, ideally 40 days ago, if this speech was done, maybe we could prepare a lot better. But it's still not the end of the world. You can fast tomorrow, miss Sunday, fast on Monday, Monday sunnah to fast anyway. Miss Tuesday, you can fast Wednesday, you can fast Thursday. Friday most likely will be the first Taraweeh, and Saturday the first fast in Ramadan will begin. Allah knows best. But this is somewhat guideline for you to follow, leading up and building up towards the month of Ramadan. Also, with regards to the Quran, Ramadan is very special and is very blessed because of its connection to the Quran. The Quran is Kalamullah, the word of Allah. The Quran is the word of Allah, and there is nothing like the word of Allah. There is nothing like the word of the Quran. The word of Allah compared to all other words is like Allah having no comparison to His creation. Or the word of man compared to the word of Allah is like man compared to Allah. There is no equal. There is no equal between Allah and His makhluk. Likewise, there is no equal between the kalam of Allah and the kalam of His makhluk. The word of Allah is eternal. It's azali, it's abadi, it's sarmadi, it's qadeem, it's awwal bila ibtida, akhir bila intiha. There's nothing like the word of Allah. And the word of man is created. Everything I'm saying now is created. Allah created speech. But His speech is not created. His word is not created. There is nothing like His. And when you have attachment and connection to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, then you do not remain normal. You become special. That's why a normal person, he is not equal to that individual who has memorized the Hafiz of the Quran. Because the one who's memorized the Hafiz of the Quran, he has memorized what? The word of Allah. That's no small feat, that's an unbelievable achievement. So, Ramadan was revealed inside, the Quran was revealed inside the month of Ramadan. Hence why Ramadan before the Quran was just Ramadan. Now the very same Ramadan the Quran was revealed in, it no longer remains as Ramadan, but it's become the blessed Ramadan. We are waiting for the blessed month. It's blessed because of its connection to Al-Quran Al-Kareem. Allah said in the Quran, شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنِ. The month of Ramadan is that month in which Allah revealed, Allah sent the Quran. Allah sent the Quran to our Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. The first revelation, the first verses of the Quran was sent in the month of Ramadan to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. It was in this month. Therefore, we need to have an attachment to this month. This month is blessed because of its nisbah to the Quran. And if you are attached to the Quran, then you will also become blessed. Allah will send barakat into your lives as well. So this is the best time in the year for you to, one, open the Quran, and two, get maximum sawab, reciting the Quran in this blessed month. He said this is that Quran hudan linnas, which is a guidance for people. وَبَيِّنَاتٍ مِنَ الْهُدَى وَالْفُرْقَانِ. And it's an explanation to what has been revealed, wal-Furqan, and this is the book which tells you what is good and what is bad, what is right and what is wrong, what is evil and what is good that Allah has sent to man. So this is the blessed month Ramadan which is coming, the month in which we should have an attachment to the word of Allah. We should have an attachment to Al-Quran Al-Kareem. The Prophet ﷺ would recite the entire Quran once to Sayyidina Jibreel in the month of Ramadan. And the last Ramadan they recited not once but twice they did Khatm al-Quran with Sayyidina Jibreel. Nabi ﷺ's reciting and Sayyidina Jibreel used to listen. 2 Qur'ans. We see when we study the lives of the awliya and the ulama and the salaf, as-salihin, the righteous salaf, they would finish a number of Qur'ans in the month of Ramadan. Sayyidina Imam Nu'man bin Thabit, al-Imam al-Azam Abu Hanifa radiyallahu anhu, it's reported that he would recite 60 Qur'ans in Ramadan. 60 Qur'ans. That's 2 Qur'ans a day. We recite 1 Qur'an in Ramadan, it's a huge achievement. 60 Qur'ans in the month of Ramadan, it's an unbelievable achievement. This very same Imam was that Imam who would recite the entire Qur'an in 1 rak'ah. In 1 rak'ah, in 1 unit of prayer. Allahu Akbar, Surah Al-Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, all the way to Qul A'udhu bi Rabbin Nas, towards the end of that. In 1 rak'at before he went into ruku. This was the karamat of Sayyidina Al-Imam Al-Azam Abu Hanifa radiyallahu anhu, our Imam. The very same Imam, it's reported with tawatur that for 40 years, from Salatul Isha till Salatul Fajr, he remained in wudu. His wudu didn't break for 40 years from Isha till Fajr. i.e., he never used to sleep at night. Always engrossed in ibadah. This sifat of worshipping Allah, this attribute of ibadah, worshipping Allah, this is you find amongst the awliya. This attribute you find amongst Allah's awliya. They are always constantly in the worship of Allah. Qiyamul Layl, all night they stand. Sayyidina Abu Hanifa radiyallahu anhu would finish 60 Qur'ans in the month of Ramadan. I know people today that are alive who finish at least 15 to 20 Qur'ans in Ramadan today. That I know of personally, in Ramadan. I know we are busy working. We go to work, we're fasting long hours. But we should try to read as much Qur'an as possible in Ramadan. Remember, every or any action, any good action done in the month of Ramadan, that action which in its essence is nafil, Allah Almighty will multiply the rewards. That one action, He will receive the reward equivalent to a fard. So for every 2 nafil you read, the angels are writing fard. For every fard you read in Ramadan, Allah Almighty's angels are instructed that give him the reward equivalent to 70 fard. These offers, any umrah you do in Ramadan, it is equivalent to the thawab of a hajj. Only in Ramadan. This offer is only in Ramadan. In this 1 month, Allah makes offers to the ummah. He gives offers. Unbelievable offers. Not 50% discount. You know, we're talking 100% profit. You can multiply rewards, not decrease. There's no discount in Islam. It's more and more. The more you give, the more good you do, the more thawab and ajr Allah gives you. You will only find this in which month? In Ramadan. This is why the Sahaba used to make dua. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballaghana Ramadan. Oh Allah, bless us in Rajab and Sha'ban. And allow for us to live that we may see Ramadan. We want to see the month of Ramadan. Allow us to live long enough to see Ramadan. The Sahaba used to make this dua. The Prophet ﷺ taught this dua. They would prepare 6 months in advance for Ramadan, the Sahaba. They would all anticipate the arrival of Ramadan because it's a gift from Allah. The Quran was revealed. The thawab al-ajr is increased. On the night when Ramadan begins, Allah instructs the angels, close all the doors of Jahannam and open all the doors of paradise. وَسُلْسِلَةِ الشَّيَاطِينَ, and tie up all the shayateen, all the devils, tie them up. So that in this 1 month where they go on vacation, the devils have time off. And me and you, we continue in this month. That's why we are not as tempted to do wrong in Ramadan as we are in any other month. Because there is less influence of the shayateen. There is more influence of the malaika. There is more influence of Ramadan Kareem. Ramadan's effect is far greater. And we have 30 days then to improve our state, to become better people. And we see people who don't grow beards start growing beards. Sisters who don't wear hijabs start wearing hijabs. We see that people who don't fast start fasting. They start doing good. They come to Salatul Taraweeh. They'll come to Fajr and Isha and Zohar, and our masjids become more packed. Until 10 days after Ramadan and everything's back to normal. The devil's out. We go from Burnley and Nelson and Brighfield all the way to Winslow Road. We hire cars out and we welcome the shaitan back. Istiqbal shaitan. He's come back to society. Welcome. We missed you because we didn't get to do what we wanted to do whilst you was away. Ramadan stopped. It's true. Sometimes you think what's happening? Why? It's like, who are you welcoming? Are you welcoming the day of Eid, or are you welcoming shaitan? Are you ironing your clothes for Allah, or are you ironing your clothes to make shaitan happy? Are you making the phone call to pick up because to welcome shaitan whilst you're on a high, or are you going to pray your Fajr, Zohar, Asr, Maghrib, Isha on Eid day? Will you neglect them prayers on Eid day? When you're young, this is how they think. When you get older and you're married, then your priority becomes your family. And those who don't have a mother and father, on the day of Eid, it's a very hard day for them. Because normally we would go to our mother and father's house on Eid day. Now we have nowhere to go. Who are we going to meet? Normally we'd ring our mom and dad, Eid Mubarak, if they're in Pakistan. Now they're not, who are we going to ring? Brothers don't have time for brothers, sisters don't have time for sisters. If we do it, then it's all above just to show face, never truly, sincerely. So we need to really go back to basics and come back to the true essence of Islam. Lillahiyat, for the sake and raza of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu wa Amma Waluhu. So it's very important for us to keep this in mind. If everyone can read Durood Sharif, Allahumma salli ala. So it's very important that we keep that in mind. This month is also fast approaching, as you have ample amount of opportunity to come and stay 10 nights in the house of Allah and become better people. You have 10 nights in this blessed month to sit i'tikaf in the house of Allah and get closer to Him with no influence of the outside world whilst you are in the house of Allah. Many young lads don't sit i'tikaf. If they have 10 spare days, then come to the masjid and spend them in the house of Allah, spend that time worshipping Allah, drawing closer to Allah, al-qurb ilallah. Because what you will get from those 10 nights, you can't get anywhere else. The ulama write that where Allah said, wal fajri wa layalin ashr, I take an oath by the fajr, yani salatul fajr, or the time of fajr. Wa layalin ashr. The most authentic opinion is walayalin ashr, the 10 nights refers to the 10 nights of al-Hajj, the first 10 nights of Hajj. But there are opinions that these 10 nights also refers to the last 10 nights of the month of Ramadan. There is opinion that when Allah revealed وَلَيَالٍ عَشْرٍ, I take an oath by the 10 nights, it refers to the last 10 nights of Ramadan as well. So these are very, very blessed nights. Nights in which we can draw closer to Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. We can become closer to Him, and the closer we are to Allah, the more Allah will love us, the more Allah will give us. And along with that love and giving that Allah will give to His servants, Allah will also test that person. He will test him to see, are you really, truly on this path, or are you just, is it temporary? Will you let the shaitan come back? A lot of people come on the path and they get tested more. And they think, well, it should be easier when you're practicing. Actually, it's not. When Allah created paradise, He said to Sayyidina Jibreel, go look at paradise, I've created it. Tell me, what do you think? Give me your feedback. Sayyidina Jibreel went, he's seen, beautiful. All the rivers, all the trees, all the houses, all the palaces, the zarrat and everything in paradise, nothing like it. Sayyidina Jibreel said, it's unbelievable. Everyone will be going to paradise if they hear of it. And then Allah Almighty said to Sayyidina Jibreel, now go look at my punishment. Go look at hell, Jahannam. Sayyidina Jibreel went and seen Jahannam. When he went to the fire of hell, he seen inside it snakes and serpents, and he seen huge boulders and rocks and blazing fires, orange and yellow and black, different, and smoke, and the shayateen were in there. And he said, inshallah, anyone who will hear and see of this will never do wrong in their life. They will always ask refuge from this. They would not want to get closer to this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that I instruct the angels that they decorate paradise with thorns. That paradise is surrounded by thorns. And the path to paradise is a very difficult path. And I instructed the angels to surround the fire of hell with desires and temptations with roses. So the path to hell is easier. The reason I've done this is because I'm going to test my servants to see if they can overcome. I will test them, I will make life hard for them. Because this dunya is not a prison for me, is not paradise for me and you, my brothers and sisters. This dunya is a prison for the believer. Ad-dunya sijnul mu'min wa jannatul kafir. This dunya is a prison for the believers, and it's paradise for those who don't believe. Our path to paradise isn't easy. It's actually meant to be hard. But when you begin to train yourself and you begin to get closer to Allah, it gets harder. But then the things you really want, you leave them. And when you leave them, that's when it gets easier. If you want to be a man of Allah and do wrong at the same time, they oxymorons. It's two opposites. You can't do it. You've got to give up one thing to get the other. If you want Allah, then you've got to give up the streets and the dunya. And if you want the streets and the dunya, then if you've got Allah with you, it's going to be hard. But the beauty is that I know people who are on the street and they still have Allah. They have Iman, they have faith, even if it's an atom's worth. In the end, that atom's worth weighs more than the devil's worth on the street. That's a fact. And eventually that comes back and helps them become better people. Be it at the age of 20 or 25 or 30 or 45. If Allah wants to guide him, Allah will guide him. There is no one that can misguide him. And if Allah misguides him, there is no one that can guide him. فَمَنْ يَهْدِ اللَّهُ فَلَا مُضِلَّ لَهُ وَمَنْ يُضْلِلْهُ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. So it's very important for us to understand that. And the best time for us to get closer to Allah is Ramadan. The hardest part is maintaining it after Ramadan. In Ramadan it's easy. The real test is after Ramadan. When the devil's back on the streets and every temptation is in front of you again, then it's hard, then it's difficult. And that's when mujahada, and that's when striving and struggling and working hard against your desires really matters. But the best time for you to prepare for that is Ramadan, and the best time for you to prepare for Ramadan is now. Don't delay, prepare today. It's the time for us to prepare for this blessed month. People think, oh, Ramadan's going to come, I'll do it, then I'll fast. I know lads who are young, they'll make any excuse. They start bleeding, oh, my fast broken. They'll vomit the night before, I can't fast tomorrow. Yet the ajr and thawab of fasting in this month, you will not get in any other month. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Habib alayhi salatu wasalam said, every amal, a person will be given his due reward, how much ever it is. But this, between 10 to 700 ajr and thawab. But this amal of fasting, this is between me and my servant. I will give him as much as I want to give him. That's up to me how much I give my servant when he fasts. So we need to get into this habit of fasting now. You've got a few days before Ramadan to prepare and see how it is, so that when Ramadan comes, it will be a little easier for you, not only physically, but also spiritually. Ramadan isn't a physical exercise. There are many spiritual benefits of fasting. I would encourage you to study some of the spiritual benefits by reading Imam Al-Ghazali rahmatullah alayhi's book of fasting. He has good discussions inside there. If you can find a translation, a translated copy in English, then I would urge you, I would encourage you that take time out and read that before Ramadan. There's the fast of the Am, there's the fast of the Khas, and then there's the fasting of Khasul Khawas. Those specific people's fasting. The Am person, he fasts. Fasting means what? Al-Imsak, Anil Akal wa Sharib. Abstaining from eating and drinking. Abstaining from eating and drinking. That's what fasting means, literally, technically. To abstain from food and drink and sexual activity during the daylight hours. That's what fasting means. So that's what me and you do. We stay away from food and drink. The fasting of the Khas people is not only staying away from food and drink, but they stay away from backbiting and listening to wrong. And the fasting of the really elect people, their fast is greater than all of that. Not only do they stay away from ghiba, from kidh, from namima, from gossiping, from backbiting, from lying, from zina, they stay away from all of these actions. This is the fast of the elect. The elect of the elect. Those who are the ones of the servants of Allah who have trained themselves to fast properly. People say, I'm fasting, but you're backbiting whilst you're fasting. I'm fasting, but you're fighting whilst you're fasting. I'm fasting, but you're listening to music whilst you're fasting. I'm fasting, but you do wrong whilst you're fasting. Well, then it's just a physical exercise for you. You're just starving your stomach. Fasting is about not only starving your stomach, it's starving your egos. It's starving your nafs. It's not feeding your nafs. When you backbite, you feed your nafs. Fasting is that in the month of Ramadan, you do as much dhikrullah as you can. It's al-imsak an kulli shay'in, from everything which is ghair mahboob, which is not desired by Allah. That's what fasting is. Everything which Allah does not like, which Allah does not desire, which Allah Almighty does not approve of, that's what fasting really is. And that's what we should be aiming for. There's a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sina Ka'b ibn Ujra radiyallahu anhu narrates, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, a very famous hadith, I've missed out but it's written here, that come near to the mimbar and they urged the companions and we came near to the mimbar, the Sahabi said radiyallahu anhu. When Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam climbed the first step, they said Ameen. The second step, they said Ameen. The third step, they said Ameen. The Sahaba inquired, Ya Rasulullah, today we've heard something we've never heard from you before. The companions said this to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said that Sayyidina Jibreel came to me when I put my blessed foot on the first step of the mimbar, I said Ameen. Why? Because he made a dua. That dua is that when my name is recited, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and whoever hears it does not send durood and salam upon me, may that person's face be rubbed in dust. May he be destroyed. May he be destroyed. Sayyidina Jibreel made this dua. I said Ameen to this dua. I took the second step. And Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said that when I took the second step, Sayyidina Jibreel made another dua. When they made the second dua, they said that that individual whose parents, one or two of them, have reached an old age, and he's unable to earn paradise by serving them, may that person be destroyed. May he be disgraced. Sayyidina Jibreel made this dua, I said Ameen to his dua. The third step that I took, he said Ameen. The reason why I said Ameen was because Sayyidina Jibreel made a dua. That individual, that when the month of Ramadan comes, when the blessed month of Ramadan comes to him, that individual, and he, let's say, pass by without asking for forgiveness, without getting forgiven by Allah, may that individual be destroyed, may that individual be disgraced. When they made this dua, I said, Ameen. 3 Ameens, 3 du'as by Sayyidina Jibreel, and 3 Ameens by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How can you allow Ramadan to reach you? Allah has given you this tawfiq, ultimately. And you were able to ask for forgiveness from your sins. And Ramadan went and you are still the way you are. Allah Almighty Habib alayhi salam said Ameen to that dua Sayyidina Jibreel made, that may that person be destroyed and disgraced. May he be destroyed and disgraced the one Ramadan came and he couldn't ask Allah to forgive him. That his parents were alive and he couldn't get paradise. That he heard my name and he was too stingy to say sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. So it's important for us to take maximum benefits from this blessed month, and the best time to do this is in the month of Ramadan Kareem. So we should keep this in mind and we should try our utmost. Ramadan is a very blessed time. It's fast approaching us, and as Ramadan is coming, it's one of the best times for you to become students of knowledge as well. It's one of the best times for you to become students of knowledge as well. Inshallah al-Aziz, after Ramadan, Imam Adil will be coming to Brighfield Masjid and will be delivering regular lectures. He will be delivering regular lectures. I know you WhatsApp me, but I didn't save your number or anything, so you're going to have to WhatsApp me again so I can give the most accurate details about this course. Or Hafiz Waqas, if you can send me the details or the poster, so I can explain to everyone. I think he will be starting an Islamic Studies course in Brighfield Masjid for a number of weeks, where he will be teaching the basics of fiqh, seerah and aqidah. These are notes that he's prepared. He's put a lot of time and effort into them. They're the very, very basics of Islam that every Muslim needs to have and needs to know. And it's very important that we try our utmost. I've got it here. Foundation Islamic Studies, Imam Adil will be starting. It's a free course, there's limited spaces. It's open to brothers and sisters. It will be starting on Saturday, the 1st of July, and it will continue every single Saturday, inshallah. The course timings are 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. And it's once a week, that's all it is. He comes, he gives you notes, he delivers a talk on the specific subject for that week. You go away with a set of notes, with an understanding, you go over them. The next week you come, you get more knowledge, and like this, your knowledge of Islam will increase. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, the streets or not the streets, how you are. I'd urge everyone to come to it. It's absolute basics, it's delivered in English. Imam Adil will take time out to come here and he will educate you. Now I would encourage all of you to make a note of this inside your diaries. I think the poster's gone up, to check the poster, get the details and just put it. Look, I go to gym now. I've started gym. I've got a habit that I've got to go 3 times a week, for example. I know that every session I do on my chest or my legs, I've got to have serious amount of protein because I need to make sure that overnight it grows so that I feel strong and healthy and I feel good with myself. I'm giving you an example. I've put myself into a routine. This is my routine that I've made. Likewise, when it comes to studying a Islamic book, for me, if I've dedicated 1 hour a night studying that book, every single night, it's going to help me, it's going to benefit. It's only 2 hours on one Saturday, on Saturday every week. And it's free, so there's no money involved. All you've got to, the biggest thing people can't give today is not money, it's time. نعمتان مغبون من كثير الناس الفراغ والصحة أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. There are two blessings that are lost with many people. Many people have lost two blessings. There are two blessings which they don't value, they don't appreciate. What is it? One, time, and two, health. When time's gone, it's too late. When health goes, then what are you going to do? How are you going to be able to do what you work and pray, etc.? So I encourage everyone that you should join onto his course. It's free. Come sit inside, 2 hours, be dedicated and learn. Little amount of knowledge with action upon it is greater than vast amount of knowledge and no action. There's things you learn in that course that you would have never known before. And that will only strengthen your iman and your knowledge of Islam. And that's what people want. People are thirsty to seek knowledge. So just take 2 hours every Saturday from the 1st of July onwards to come to this masjid. It's free in the morning, 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. 2 hours to come and sit in a gathering of knowledge and seeking ilm-ud-deen, knowledge of the deen. Take this knowledge away, act upon it, come back, refresh, get more knowledge and continue like this until that course ends. So this is a course that will be starting here in Jamia Sultania in Brighfield. For all of you, brothers and sisters, I hope that you will come inshallah and that you will also benefit from this. If you would like an application form, they're also available at this mahfal, so people can register immediately right now as well. So as you're leaving, speak to Hafiz Waqas, the brother sat with the camera, and other brothers that are sat in the crowd. Take a application form. Remember, application form isn't that you're applying to sit on the course. It's actually just for details that they can have. God forbid something happens to you during the course, and we have to get in touch with somebody in an emergency. Who will we contact if we don't have your details? How will we know where you live if we don't know? So, for a matter of protocol or in a far-fetched circumstance like this, it's important to give your details so that the masjid is covered as well. You know, if tomorrow an inspector comes in and says you had a course and somebody had a heart attack, what did you do about it? What process? How did you deal with this circumstance? What were the steps that you took? And if you don't have the right answers, the masjid could be in trouble. So you always have to cover the masjid and make sure that it's above board. So you can take application forms, you can sign up. I'm hoping that all you young lads that are sat here, every Saturday you can dedicate 2 hours, you can commit to 2 hours and give this time to learn your deen. This is your religion, you learn about it. We expect, I know non-Muslims who know more than me and you. We should be ashamed of ourselves. We can't even answer what Islam is. You know, we have people who are sat in school and when they say, what's Islam? And Muslims don't know what to say. What is Islam? What is Islam? You know, we need to ask ourselves. So we need to learn about this very basic, inshallah, knowledge, but very beneficial, and inshallah, it will take you a long way in your journey to Allah as well. May Allah Ta'ala accept what I've said. May Allah forgive me if I've made any mistakes in my speech. All mistakes are from me. All good is from Allah and His Habib, alayhi salatu wassalam. Du'as of my parents. Wa aqulu qawli hadha. Astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Wa akhu da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. I've finished 10 minutes early. Gives you enough time to do salatu salam. And inshallah we'll have Q&A as well. You did mention if you come forward, that means Q&A.
We've got 10 minutes, so a few questions. If any brother wants to ask a question in regards to the topics today, what Imam Sahib discussed, or the Madani prayers that he's given us, any brother who wants to ask a question can do so. It's very rare that we get this kind of opportunity where Imam Sahib or any alim can come in our masjid and we can openly ask a question. So don't be shy.
Comment that I think it's wonderful the way you are explaining it, and may Allah reward you and all those people who have organized it. It is needed, and I think it's wonderful to see people like yourselves and the young people who are mobilized.
Alhamdulillah.
Congratulations, may Allah reward them.
Jazakallah
this world and
Hisab.
after.
Thank you very much. It's always appreciated when the elders support us. You know, that's what these young brothers who are arranging talks like this need, encouragement and support from the elders as well. So Jazakallah khair.
Got a question, it's about Ramadan. It's for everybody, but one of my friends, he lives in a Burnley. He goes to his Burnley Masjid 12 months a year, but on a Ramadan month, he follows somebody else.
Okay.
Now, because they close the Rosa very late, then they do his own masjid. Now, is that the right way to do or not? Is it?
The best way for people who live local to a masjid is to follow that masjid as long as it's Sunni Sahihul Aqidah. If it's Sunni Sahihul Aqidah, then they should follow that masjid, the local masjid with namaz timings and everything else. If they decide to go to another masjid, that again is entirely their decision. But my encouragement would be that you follow your local masjid and you stick with that as long as basharte Sunni Sahihul Aqidah. That's the most important. But if he does go, it's again up to him, and his matter and is with Allah.
He prays his Rabbana, he prays everything in his masjid, but he only used timetable of the rosary. That's the only thing he used, timetable of the other masjid from Nelson. But he prays his Rabbana, Eid, everything in his own masjid. Now, is that the right way to do or wrong way to do?
I don't know if there's any right or wrong. My person, again, like I said, if I lived in Nelson, then Nelson's Hussain Masjid would be my local. If I lived in Brighfield, then this would be my local. If I lived in Burnley, Hussain would be my local, for example. If he decides and chooses to follow them, it's his decision. I'm not going to force him to say, I'd say to him, look, if you ask my advice, opinion, then this is what you should do. But if you don't do it, then for you is your own. I go to my own qabr, you go to your own. Lekin हमारा मसला ये है कि जी लोकल मस्जिद सुन्नी सही अकीदा है उदा इत्बा करना या उदी पैरवी करना वो ज़्यादा ज़रूरी और अहम है. So whether it's right or wrong, wallahu a'lam.
What's actually his question is, because Nelson timetable, the Ramadan timetable, and Burnley that masjid timetable is different.
In Pendle, so you've got different times.
Yes. Nelson Mosque have a different few minutes of difference, not long. Different timetable, especially Ramadan month. And Burnley Mosque have a different timetable of Ramadan month. You pray there in Burnley Mosque.
In Bradford, we have 3 different times in one city.
Yeah.
Some close at 1, some close at 2, some close at 3.
Yeah.
Now, it's up to you. You've got a choice. You can close it really early, or you can close it really late. I've got my own masjid. I follow Hazapi Marusa. I think their timings are most accurate in my opinion. So I think that's the best time to follow, for example. Now, if in Nelson, Burnley and Brighfield you've got 3 different times, if you're from Burnley, then follow Burnley's time. If you're from Nelson, follow Nelson's time. If you follow, it's entirely up to. But if somebody living in Burnley wants to follow Nelson's time,
I pray with Burnley.
but then ultimately it's up to him. We're not going to say that Rosani hoya ki Nelson to time follow kita. Nelson's not American.
No.
It's only it's one sarki hai na. One full road goes all the way between all 3 of you. So it's not like he's any ke mulu pen tre gantena ya tre jarena fark hai. It's only a couple of minutes. So Allah is the one to accept. It's personally, what benefit is it to me? तुसा जिस टाइम पर रोज़ा रखो तुसा अपनी मर्जी. हाँ हमारा एक अपनी सोच है इमाम बनने ने बिना पर यही है कि अपनी लोकल मस्जिद फॉलो करो. अगर बननी विच बननी करो. लेकिन अगर कोई बंदा है मैं ना करना मैं उठे जा सकता तू जा फिर अपनी मर्जी है मैं क्या करा. That's my own thought. That's the way I deal with it. That's my own view. I'm not going to force opinions. Why should you force? हुन ब्रैडफोर्ड वाले कितने बड़े उलमा आपस में उन्होंने इत्तेफाक को नहीं. उन्होंने आपस में इत्तेफाक को नहीं
असा बंदे की छोरो बड़े को नहीं इत्तेफाक ऐसा को ना गल तो इतना मुकनी है अगर अपनो इत्तेफाक से तो थल्ला भी इत्तेफाक होना सी ना. So that's my own opinion, because every year namaz roza timings is just a hot topic. First it was Chand, Eid, now it's roza timings. What's next, I don't know.